Welcome back to the American Presidency Unfiltered. I'm your host, Brad Pitzl, part-time historian, full-time snark machine, and your tour guide through the wild, weird, and often embarrassing moments of American politics. Now, most inaugurations are remembered for lofty speeches, powerful lines, and carefully staged optics. But not Andrew Johnson's vice presidential inauguration in 1864. Nope, Johnson's big moment was remembered for whiskey. A lot of whiskey. The poor guy slurred, rambled, and kissed the Bible like it was a prom night date. And this wasn't just a one-day embarrassment. It haunted his presidency and shaped how people viewed him during the most contentious chapter in American history, Reconstruction. Today's episode is brought to you by politicaltradingcards.com. Grab a piece of history with the latest trading cards from the left and the right. politicaltradingcards.com. All right, picture this. Washington, March 1865. The Civil War is nearly over. Lincoln is about to be sworn in for his second term. The air is tense but hopeful. Enter Andrew Johnson, the tailor from Tennessee who clawed his way up into politics. He's supposed to deliver a short, dignified speech as the new vice president. Instead, he shows up looking like he lost a fight with a bourbon distillery. Why? Well, Johnson claimed he was sick with typhoid fever and took whiskey as medicine. And sure, that was a common remedy at the time, but medicine or not, by the time he hit the stage, he was red-faced, slurring, rambling, and going off on tangents about his humble beginnings. He even lectured the senators like he was scolding them for not doing their chores. Then came the kicker, literally. One of his ceremonial duties as VP was swearing in the new senators. Only problem, he couldn't. He was too disoriented. A Senate clerk had to step in and finish the job. Imagine being so drunk at work that your intern has to run the meeting. That's essentially what happened. Lincoln, he sat there, stone-faced, probably wondering, oh no, what have I done? Later he defended Johnson, saying Andy ain't a drunkard. Which is like when one of your friends throws up at a party and you tell everyone, no, he's fine. It was just food poisoning. Nobody believes you, but you say it anyways. And just like that, the new vice president became a national punchline. And here's where the story takes a tragic twist. Just 6 weeks later, Lincoln is assassinated. Johnson becomes president. Suddenly, the man who couldn't even swear in senators without help is in charge of healing a fractured nation. And let's be blunt, he blew it. Reconstruction was the most delicate, high-stakes challenge in American history. Millions of newly freed Black Americans needed protection and rights. The South needed reintegration. Congress was ready to push hard on civil rights. Johnson, he vetoed civil rights bills, tried to block the Freedmen's Bureau, and basically gave Southern states a free pass to write black codes. Radical Republicans in Congress had to override him again and again. He was impeached by the House, the first U.S. president to face that fate, and only survived removal in the Senate by a single vote. Now, was his drunken inauguration the reason for all of this? No. But did it cement the perception that he was unreliable, unstable, and not up to the job? Absolutely. Political opponents never let him forget it. Every time he stumbled, they brought it up. Hey, remember when you couldn't make it through the inauguration sober? It's like starting a marathon with your shoelaces tied together. You're not doomed to fail, but you've made the job 10 times harder for yourself. Let's time travel for a second. What if this happened in modern politics? Imagine a vice president stumbling through an inauguration speech, clearly hammered. First off, cable news would loop the clip 24/7. Panelists on the left and right would argue about whether it was bourbon or rye, and SNL, they would be salivating. And remember, modern VPs have been grilled for far less. Dan Quayle got roasted for misspelling potato. Joe Biden has taken endless heat for gaffes. Kamala Harris gets picked on for awkward laughter. Mike Pence couldn't eat dinner with a woman without it becoming a punchline. Johnson's fiasco was way worse. He didn't just misspeak. He couldn't do his job. In today's climate, that might have ended his career before it even started. Lincoln may have been pressured to drop him from the ticket. So if you think politics today is unforgiving, Andrew Johnson wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. So where does this all leave us? What did Johnson's drunken debut mean for history? First, it gave his enemies ammunition that never went away. He was constantly battling not just Congress, but the image of being unreliable. Second, it amplified his failures, his opposition to civil rights, his disastrous Reconstruction policies, his impeachment. All of it landed harder because people already decided he wasn't serious. The drunken speech wasn't the whole story, but it was the lens through which everything else was judged. Third, it cemented a spot near the bottom of presidential rankings. Ask historians today to name the worst presidents, and Andrew Johnson is usually right there with James Buchanan. And yes, the whiskey speech is a part of the lore. In short, one bad day, one bad bottle, can cast a shadow over an entire presidency. And that's it for today's episode of the American Presidency Unfiltered. If you like what you're hearing, rate, review, and share with friends. And think of Andrew Johnson the next time a politician spits out a word salad. At least they didn't do it with as much whiskey on their breath as the 17th president.